Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? You are here during my third cup of coffee. I already had my first two and breakfast, and now sitting down to relax a little bit. I have watered the garden. I have checked the peaches, which are doing great. I've checked the apples, which are doing great. Got to get out here in a little bit and do some mowing and weed whacking and weeding and other things like that to keep that food coming in. And thought I'd sit down for a few minutes before I got too sweaty and dirty to make this one. I might make another one, probably going to make another one after this for the people over on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon with us, come on over. There's stuff over there that you don't get on YouTube that you might want to, if you're really interested in preparedness and survival and things like that. You should be interested in those things, and you should be over there. And I always put the link down here in the information section and a pinned comment. And then before I did that, I finished a chapter in the new book, and that was good, and got that uploaded and set in. I won't go through the whole process of what I do, but I know that some of you are interested, and a lot of you have been asking about it. And just to let those of you who may not know, and as we get started off here talking about whether things are worse or better, and that's my main thing today. I want to ask you, are things getting worse in the world or better? And how about not just the big world, but your world? That's because that's what preparedness is about, making our world better. So I got that laid in, and yes, for those of you who don't know, this is brought to you by the Stonemont series, my books, The Reversion, the Revival, the Renewal, An Appeal to Heaven, and the Blessings of Freedom. And these are all about preparing for, surviving, and then rebuilding after a total collapse. It's a novel series. It's a great story. People tell me they love it. Tens and tens of thousands of people around the world have written to me and said how much they like it. And actually, so many say that they prefer this world to the world they're living in. I have to agree with that. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And if you want to know how to get these, they're available on Amazon individually, or however you want to do it. Both in trade paperback like this, cool looking books, and also on Kindle. And there's a way that you can get the paperbacks autographed by me, and that information is also down there, place to write to me. So if you're really interested in preparedness and you haven't read these, I would suggest that you do. So if you watch the news every day, and most people do, some people watch it just to get upset about the latest thing. I suggest that you watch it just as kind of a strategy, a tactic, both to prepare you, an intelligence tactic, shall I say, to allow you to kind of keep up on what's going on in the world. I don't watch the news that much. I mean, I don't pay it. I'll go through the major, the main aggregators, and I'll read the headlines. And if it's pretty much the same old thing, I usually don't, unless it's really funny or disgusting or something like that. I will skip it, and I'll say, okay, that's still going on. That's still going on. That's not new. This isn't new. Whatever. Unless something really reaches out and grabs me, and then I'll look into it further. But for the most part, the world is going along as the world always goes along, and right now it's not going in a very good direction. And so if I were going to ask most people, do you think that things are getting better or worse? Most people would say, at least most people who watch this channel, half of our country says, yeah, it's getting better. I love $4 gas, and I love whatever, because we live in a country that's divided, right? In more ways than one. But most people who watch this channel and other channels like it would say, no, I think things are getting worse. Well, I think they are too. And we have an election coming up, and I think I think there may be a surprise for a lot of people, and it's not the surprise that we have all been hoping for. And I'm worried that there's going to be another surprise, but I think I'm gonna make that one. I might shoot that when I'm done here for American Reversion, because it's more political than anything. And if you're not on American Reversion, I think the link's down there too. Join us over there. So most people would say things are getting worse. How are they getting worse? Well, inflation, of course, we know. I'm not going to rehash everything that everybody already knows, because if you just want to talk about that all the time, it's kind of like the people who just like to complain. It's they want to find, if they can't find something new to complain about, they at least want to be able to continue complaining about the things they've already been complaining about. Well, if you've already identified that there's a problem, and the next thing that you need to do is figure out how you're going to address that problem. How are you going to mitigate the problems that come from whatever it is that's going on for your own life, because that's the main thrust of preparedness. You can't get the world prepared, but you can get yourself prepared, and you can get your family and those who depend on you prepared, and that's what you want to do. So there are those who, if they can't find something new to complain about, they're gonna at least fulfill their need to complain by re-complaining over the things that have already happened and are going on. And this is why I'm so happy that I don't work in the corporate world anymore, to where the conversations are just always every day about the same stuff. Can you believe this? Can you believe that? Did you see this? Did you see that? Well, I have to say that that many of them are variations on the theme. Musical reference there. How many of you got that? But they're not new. They are simply, maybe the next stone laid in the wall, the latest brick in the wall, the next step in the slouching toward Gomorrah, as Bork put it in his book. It's simply the next step. And so it hasn't presented us with a new problem, essentially. It's presented us with more evidence of the same problem. And if you need more evidence that there's a problem, well, okay, then get it, but you shouldn't need any more evidence that there's a problem. Now, where am I going with this? Well, where I'm going is, and I've talked about this before, and I believe I left a message over on the church channel, Stonemont Church, about getting your eye off of the problem, getting it onto the solution. And in that sermon, I talked about, and you remember the story about Jesus walking on water, and Peter. I won't go into this. If you want that, go over there. I think it's up over there. I'll check sometime. If it's not, I'll put one up over there, and I'll put it up here too. Once you've identified the problem, if you keep your eye on the problem and your mind on the problem, and that's really it. When you keep your mind on the problem, you don't have your mind on the solution. Now, should you just completely disregard the problem? Of course not. You should keep in the back of the mind the problem. But having identified it, you should be immediately forming the solution to it. Those things that you can do personally to minimize that problem's negative effects on your life, on the lives of those around you, your family, those depend on you, and that's where your energy should be spent. Now, every day. Yesterday, I've talked about the importance of doing something every day, because if you're doing something every day, that takes the worry away from you. You worry and you fret and things. Most people, because they're not doing anything. That's why people who wake up in the middle of the night and start worrying can't sleep, because the reason that you worry is because you have a problem, you can't do anything about it, right? Because it's the middle of the night. And most good solutions, are not accomplished in the middle of the night. And as soon as you get up the next day, if you start working at that problem, you stop worrying, because you're either going to work at the problem to solve it, or you're going to worry. One of the two. For the most part, you're not going to do both. So that's why it's important to start working on that after you've identified the problem. So little things are important. Doing something every day. Taking yourself the next step down the road to self-sufficiency, self-reliance, and ability to live separate from the system, as it were, to provide for your own safety and nurture and security and all that. So yesterday I did a bunch of stuff. I don't remember at all. One of the things that I did is I cleaned out a bunch of new 55-gallon barrels and washed them out and filled them up with water. It's a simple thing, but it is a thing, and it's one of those things that everybody should be doing. We talked about the importance of water the other day. Today, like I said, I've got a lot of stuff to do, but when I got up this morning and I checked the news and I checked all my emails and I checked all the comments and answered the comments on both of the channels and both of the videos that I put up yesterday, okay, that was towards accomplishing a goal. And then I wrote more in the book, and then I put it up. Each one of those steps, see, is a step in my solution to the problem. Because, to be honest, I've already solved most of the biggies, and that I'm not saying that like if you haven't, you're something less. No, I just started this a long time ago. And that's why the things that I do now are the smaller things. You fill in the cracks. And a lot of you are in that same situation. You've got yourselves pretty well squared away. I see it in the comments that you leave, especially over on Patreon. I see it in what you've done, and you tell me about, and some of you email me and tell me about what you got going on and what what your state of readiness is. And you guys are, you're top tier. Others, you may not be at that point, and that's okay. What's important is that you are headed in that direction and doing everything that you can step by step to get there. The big question is not whether the things in the world are getting worse. I know people that are just sure that the end of the world is about to get here because things have never been this bad. Well, most of the people who have that opinion haven't studied history, because nobody's burning Christians in their garden to provide light for their party, as has happened in the past. We have had many things that have happened in the past that are just horrendous, that the average person either doesn't know about or forgets about when they're saying that things have never been this bad. Now, I'm not saying that things aren't bad. They are bad. Things are being done, and in the world of, in the digital world, things can happen a lot faster than they ever have before. So when there's, we can have problems coming at us from directions, or at least in ways, maybe not from directions, but in ways that have never come at us this way, and have never come at us this fast. So we have to be nimble. We have to be on the ball. We have to keep track of what's going on, and be ready to take those steps to mitigate the problem. So whether things are getting worse in the world, and like I said, I believe they are. Does that mean that they're going to get better when the pendulum swings? There's no guarantee. It's always kind of happened in the past. But, when it gets better for some, it gets worse for others. This is the thing that's important to keep in mind. My question to you, or my advice to you first, is this. My thought to you, just because things are getting worse in the world, it doesn't mean that it has to be getting worse for you. And I have a lot of people that say, he doesn't address reality because he doesn't address, he kind of takes it from a very optimistic standpoint. Well, if you think that if I don't address reality, read these books. You'll find some reality in there that most people have never thought about. But yes, I think that it's detrimental to always go through life or through your preparedness journey thinking about how horrible things are and concentrating on the problems. Identify the problems, concentrate on the solutions. So as the world gets worse, be dedicated to doing the things that makes your life better. Now, I don't mean just make your life better if it all falls apart. I mean make life better now. And there are plenty of things that you can do. Plenty of things. I've got, 500 videos back there you can watch about things that you can do. But you can think of those things yourself. Are you tightened up as much as you need to be on your food supplies? Probably not. Most people aren't. Are you tightened up as much as you need to be on water supply? Probably not. Most people aren't. Are you tightened up as much as you need to be on, defense or whatever? Maybe not. All of those things are important, and the more you tighten those things up, first off, the better position you're in, and the better you feel. And as you have a plan, and as you work that plan, you will find that you are feeling more positive. And it can be difficult because people thrive on negativity. They thrive on problems. They thrive on worry. They thrive on drama. And I know that there are people that will come on. They'll go on YouTube, and whether it's preparedness or probably anything else, they look for those places that they can be scared by and to kind of fill that need of negativity that they have, and that keeps them. It paralyzes them. They're getting their fix, but it paralyzes them in such, or maybe not paralyzes, but it directs them in a wrong direction, because it ramps up their emotions. And if they do any kind of preparedness, very often they're doing it emotionally. And when you prepare emotionally, you're wasting both time and money very often. So my question to you, and I'll look forward to reading your comments down there. First off, my advice: be determined to make your life better even when the world is crumbling around you. It can be done. It's up to you. Don't let the crumbling of the world destroy you. Don't let it make you crumble. Okay? And then my question is, how about it? Do you find yourself kind of going along with this bad news addiction? Every day it's a new story about the same thing, and it wears you down and it drums you down. I've had people tell me that they burned out. It's like they feel like it's hopeless. It's not at all hopeless. They're talking about the same problems. They're not new problems all the time. And when you get somebody beating the same drum about the same problem, it should tell you that they don't have any new problems. Which when you realize that, you know what? Same problems that were going on last year and 2 years ago. That means that there's not a lot of new problems coming our way. Good deal. I can get down and start working on I can't solve the problems of the world, but I can solve my problems. I can do the things that it takes to make me kind of insulated from all the problems of the world, and that can definitely be done. So the message of this is, don't be negative. Be positive. Don't. I know that a lot of people like to think that they're just being a realist, when actually what they're being is a cynic. Be an optimist. I read something the other day. It was pretty good. That if you set your alarm at night to get up at a certain time, you've shown you're an optimist. You're optimistic. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning. So just kind of take that down the road and realize that your life is going to be what you make it. Your preparedness stance is going to be what you make it. If you let other people make it, if you're always in the doldrums, if you're always going, oh, what's going on? This is horrible and that's horrible, and this is, price of gas is up and food is up and all that. Well, then your life is what other people make it. And I don't understand wanting to do that. That's a victim mentality. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. Let me know. I know we're getting a lot of good discussions down in the comment sections. So let me know what you think about that and what you're doing. Because a lot of people out there need. I am one of those people that, and I don't say this is going to come out sounding arrogant, and I don't mean it to. I am one of those people that don't need other people to pump him up. Maybe it's because I've been doing it so long myself. I don't know. But try to break away from that need to get other people. Well, no, I won't even say that. Let me back up and say that your comments can be very helpful to those people who need a little help, who need a little uplifting. And that's how we help each other. That's what I do when I try to do when I come on here. And just make you realize that, the world may be going to hell, but you don't have to be. Okay? All right. I'm going to get off. I'm going to shoot one for the folks over on Patreon. And I think I'm going to shoot one for the folks on American Reversion. I may come back later today and shoot another one, depending on how dirty I am or how I feel when I take a shower, on a great question that somebody asked me yesterday about caring for people who need care in an SHTF situation. So we'll see. Don't I have a horrible life? I know I have a horrible life. I get up, I make breakfast, I have my coffee, I write my books, I answer emails, and I come out and I talk to you on my phone. What a horrible life. Actually, it's a great life. And I tell you, I appreciate your all's part in it. I really do. It's what started off as just me, starting off as I said, have a YouTube to kind of talk about my books, has really become more than that. And it's become a good part of my day. So I hope you all have good parts of your day like that. And if you do, build them up bigger to be more of a part of your day. And if you don't, find something, because it can make all the difference. I'll leave it at that. You all have a great day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And let me know what you're doing to prepare. Leave your comments to help other people who need it. And for those of you who need it, great to have you here. I hope you get something out of what I've said and what some of the other commenters will say. I think you will. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.